sorry. What? That? Oh. Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite movies. And today I'm gonna review another classic movie. This time, maybe not as classic as The Shining, but since I've reviewed a very scary, crazy, terrifying movie, I need to review something lighthearted, something funny, and that just so happens to be Shaun of the Dead by the one and only director Edgar Wright. So Edgar Wright is one of the most successful and popular comedy movie directors of the world right now, and his work had been pretty successful, including the Cornetto trilogy, which features Simon Pegg and Nick Frost playing different characters in 3 different movies with different premises. He also made Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which is one of the most colorful, crazy, wild, and energetic American comedies, even though he's a British director. And then he also dropped Baby Driver a couple years ago, and it is sensational. It is very popular. A lot of people liked it. Ansel Elgort is in it, Jamie Foxx, John Hamm. Just all in all, a great movie. And then, now, he is actually making a psychological horror film. Yes, it's called Last Night in Soho, and I am excited about that. And in the time being, I watched Shaun of the Dead, and it is also one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite movies. It was the year 2004 when Edgar Wright came out with this movie, and Edgar Wright back then wasn't really that famous or anything. It was his second movie, I think, and it is the first movie in the Cornetto trilogy. So it features Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and they have amazing chemistry. And the movie also has a Martin Freeman cameo, and 2 members of the band Coldplay also showed up at the end of the movie, so that's quite interesting. So we have Shaun, a so-so person, who's not so responsible at the beginning, who's pretty bad at his job, and has a pretty mean stepdad. And then we have his friend Ed, whose other flatmate really dislikes, and he has a girlfriend, Liz, who is about to break up with Shaun at the very beginning, because Shaun just doesn't really, do anything with Liz, and Liz also has 2 friends, Daff and Dee. And one day there was a zombie outbreak, and Shaun had to save his loved ones. So now we have the movie. And at first I really didn't know what to expect, because I have watched a TV show called The Walking Dead, and it took them so many seasons and counting in order to wrap up this whole zombie outbreak thing. It involves so many different groups of survivors, so many different characters. And this movie is rather simplistic. There are zombies, and then there are humans. Humans go around and survive. You know what would happen. But this is also a comedy. It's also a romantic comedy. It is a rom-com, a zombie romantic comedy. And it is hilarious. First off, let's talk about the acting and the characters. In general, I think they're pretty funny. I think Simon Pegg and Nick Frost have a lot of chemistry. I also think the dialogues in this movie are really, really well written. And this is the kind of deadpan British humor that you wouldn't actually see in Baby Driver or Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, because they are rather over-the-top American humor. But this is some sarcastic, deadpan British humor that actually works really well, and that people, no matter where you are from, you can also enjoy this movie. And man, Edgar Wright is such a master of visual comedy. A lot of the comedy directors and writers of the Hollywood in the USA right now make generic comedy that isn't funny at all. That's just cliche after cliche after cliche. But Edgar Wright really made something innovative, original, and really refreshing in this movie. There are several shots where the character is in one position and then he goes elsewhere and then he goes back. And those parts are really funny. There are shots where the character is talking really seriously and then all of a sudden a random thing just shows up at the side, like a telephone or maybe a pint of beer, anything. There are scenes in the movie that completely syncs up with a song, and it's both very funny but also very lighthearted. There's a scene where they have to beat up an old fat guy in a bar, and then the song Can't Stop Me Now by Queen plays, and they hit that guy again and again and again on beat, and that scene is both very hilarious but also very brilliant and smart, and I enjoy it a lot. There are also some really nice long takes as well. The scenes where Shaun had to go from his house to this convenience store, grab a can of soda and go back. That shot is actually very long, and it happened twice. And both of the scenes are really similar, but one is pre-zombie outbreak and post-zombie outbreak. Also, a lot of dialogue callback, like "You've got red on you." At first, when Shaun is doing his job, his red pen is spilling ink. So people say to him, "You've got red on you," and then later he's beating up zombies, and people are saying to him, "You've got red on you." And then there's also another more subtle callback, and that is when Shaun is trying to talk with his friend Ed, and Ed was playing video games, and Shaun was like, "Top left, 30 degrees," and "You're right." And then later on when Shaun was pointing a shotgun at zombies, Ed was saying basically the same things. This is really, really smart. And I don't really have any issue with the movie. I think it's simplistic. It's not that ambitious or grand or anything. And it is the perfect British deadpan humor, rom-com. And let's talk about the ending. I am actually really impressed that in a limited amount of time, the ending feels even more eventful than like an entire season of Walking Dead sometimes. Yes, that's a little crazy, but you get the idea. There's a scene where Shaun's group of survivors and another group of survivors sort of meet up, but they just pass by each other and they never really look back or anything. They never teamed up and go to the same destination or anything. They just walk by, and I think that's really dumb. But also really, really funny. You know, they say hi to each other. Hi, hello, hey. And then they just walked by and ignored each other in the midst of this zombie outbreak when everybody was dying. The ending is kind of unexpected, but also pretty realistic if you think about it. So yeah, the writing is on point, the directing is on point, and I don't have anything to complain about for this movie. I am saying Shaun of the Dead is absolutely hilarious. It's lol. I don't know if I'm going to give that verbal rating or not. It's definitely a movie worth watching. And I'm giving Shaun of the Dead a 9 out of 10. So, have you watched Shaun of the Dead? From 1 to 10, how much did you rate it? Like if you like it, and subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. Don't worry, I'll review a bad movie next time.